click record, and we're now recording. Also with CPE, we're still working out our own internal systems. We've had a couple of issues with it, but hopefully we've worked it out. We just converted over to Salesforce, so hopefully the CPE process will be much smoother and we'll get those out promptly as well. Any questions for today's webinar, pop those into the question box and I'll do my best to answer them as we go, and if I don't get an answer to them in the webinar, we'll definitely get an email out to you. So feel free to type those questions in, but otherwise let's get going. So why social media? Really, it's a free or very inexpensive way to increase your digital footprint. It's a phenomenal way for you to dip onto more and more, or to drip rather, onto more and more people. And when we talk about dripping, we're talking about consistency, making sure that we are everywhere our clients are and everywhere that our clients are receiving their information. So we've got to make sure that social media is part of our marketing plan, because we know we have some clients, some prospects, some referral sources that do receive their information, receive their news, receive their marketing via social media. As I said, the wonderful thing about most social media platforms is they are free. So we've got a huge opportunity to really broaden our web footprint. And when we talk about broadening our web footprint, we're really focusing on enhancing the search engine optimization. So Google now looks at not only what you're saying about yourself, but also what are other people saying about you. What are other platforms saying about you? So what we want to do by incorporating a couple of social media platforms is broaden or build our web footprint. So that's what's critical. And if we can be seen on Twitter, and if we can be seen on LinkedIn, if we have a blog, what that allows us to do is really enhance our reputation so that we are much more than just one URL, but we have a presence and we're participating in more platforms in other areas of the World Wide Web. So as I said, we've got to choose the platforms where our clients, prospects and referral sources are. The good news is, and one of the reasons not only that I like social media, not only because it's free for the most part, but we can do a lot of this from the comfort of our own office. So I can be sitting here I'm actually in Palm Springs today, heading out to meet with one of our members tomorrow. I can sit here and I can market, I can build my profile, I can enhance my reputation, all from the comfort of my own office, or hotel room in this case. So we're able to do small things that can have a fairly high and leveraged impact. So that's why we need to add social media, and what we've got to do is we've got to look at how do we do it efficiently, how do we do it effectively. So that's what today's webinar is about, but what we're going to do as always is start with a poll, and let's just ask the question of the audience. Very simple, yes, no. Do you currently use social media in your practice? And this could be social media to any level, whether that's just a LinkedIn profile, whether that's if we've got Twitter involved, if we're blogging. So we've got about 80% voted. We'll leave that open for another second, or 77% voted. Maybe someone changed their vote. Let's manage that poll. We'll close it now. Just share it with the audience. Oh, not manage the poll. Where did I go? Sorry. What we're looking at here is about 50-50. So we've got 50% of the audience, 54% of the audience using social media, 46% of the audience are not using social media, and I'd imagine that the 54% are looking to find out how to be more effective at it, and then the 46% looking at how do we get started. So I really want to make sure we cover both bases today to make sure that we not only give the folks that are using it some more ideas as to how to grow it, but also the folks that aren't quite there yet, make sure that we can give them some ideas to help them get into dip their toe and dip their toe in the water, and also maybe dive in completely. So hopefully we'll have some good stuff for both folks. This is why we've got to use social media, because we've got to be dripping on our clients, our prospects, and our referral sources to remain relevant, to remain top of mind. For our current clients, I always want to make sure we are number one. I always want to make sure they're thinking of me before they do something stupid. I always want to make sure that I am providing them some value, providing them some information, whether or not they choose to receive it, choose to open it, choose to click on it. What's happening is just by using social media platforms, we're just dripping on our clients. They don't need to open it, but just by them seeing my firm name or my name drip across their Twitter feed, through their LinkedIn profile, through their Facebook, for example, it allows me just to let them know that I'm still here. And that's for our current clients. Particularly if we've got an individual return-heavy practice, we might not actually be seeing our clients more than once a year. We might not be speaking with our clients maybe more than 2 or 3 times a year. So we've got to look at how do we get information to them, how do we remember, oh, my slides aren't showing apparently. Oops, show screen. There we go. Do apologize, I forgot to unshare the poll. So thanks very much for that, David. But here's the graph that we're referring to. All we're looking at is we've got to make sure that we are consistently sharing information with our clients, with our prospects, with our referral sources. When it comes down to referral sources and prospects, we want to make sure we're constantly dripping on our clients or on our prospects so that we're second in line. So that when they are frustrated or they are disappointed with their current client or with their current CPA, we're the ones that immediately come to mind. And we're able to do that very effectively through social media, because if we are where our clients and prospects and referral sources are, we can very easily and very quickly just drip on our prospects, drip on our referral sources, and remind them that we are there. So this is why social media is really effective, because we're able to drip on our clients, drip on our prospects, remind them that we're here from the comfort of our own office. And I would suggest that we can do it maybe in 10 minutes a day, maybe in 20 minutes a day. And that's an important part of the social media planning, is how much time do you have to dedicate to this? So why social media? Because it allows us to constantly remind our clients, prospects, referral sources that we are there, so that when our prospects are disappointed with their current CPA because of an unexpected bill, an IRS notice, or their current CPA is unresponsive, we're second in line. So, key question, what platforms? I get this question a lot. Where do I need to be? In all honesty, you've got to find out where your clients are. You've also got to think about who are your clients. If your clients are quite visual people, if they're artists, if they're graphic designers, if they're in the creative arts industry, maybe we've got to look at the platforms as being the more visual platforms, such as Instagram or Pinterest. I know a lot of member firms have got some great results as a result of their Pinterest efforts, where they're sharing very visual information. I know also if clients are much more maybe the professional services, engineering firms, law firms, LinkedIn works particularly well for them. So it all depends. We've got to be where our clients are. We've got to also ask who are our clients and where are they going. So with some firms, we've gone and just done a random sampling and just looked at 10 of their clients and just identified what platforms they're on. When a new client comes on board, we get key pieces of information such as social security number, the EIN, the date of incorporation. Why don't we also collect what social media platforms they're using to grow their business? I get a lot of questions as, should I connect personally with my clients on Facebook? And that's really up to you. Some clients I know, they say, we're pretty much best friends. I'm great friends with my clients, and that's okay. I personally I'm pretty picky which clients I connect with personally on Facebook, but I definitely make sure I always go through and like my clients' pages, because it's a phenomenal way just to reaffirm that you're interested in their business, that you like their business page, that you follow their business page, follow them individually. I certainly have no problems linking or connecting with all of my clients on LinkedIn. So why shouldn't we ask our clients, are you using social media to grow your business? What are the platforms? And then let's make sure we get ourselves on those platforms. We like the client's business page. We do what we need to do. I would suggest for those folks starting out, just start out small. Let's just go with LinkedIn and maybe Twitter, and sit on the sidelines and watch for a couple of weeks. And then when we're ready, let's then get involved and then let's get active. And we'll show you what some of the first steps are in terms of getting active. And then as we become comfortable with it, let's add more platforms. I don't think we need to add every single platform under the sun because that's just going to become a nightmare to manage. But let's choose 2 or 3. And what we can do is we can test. We can add an Instagram account if there's someone visual in your office that wants to take control of it. We can add Pinterest. Again, if somebody in your office knows how to use it. The last thing I want to do is add all of these platforms and have to spend 2 or 3 days working out how to use them. But in our own practice, or in our for 2020 group, we have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter account, we have a blog. So we're much more comfortable and we're adding platforms as we grow. The good thing as well is I can go into Google Analytics and see whether or not my time spent on Instagram is actually driving any traffic. And more often than not, as we do add some of these platforms, it's really nice to go into Google Analytics and see that, yes, Twitter is driving activity, LinkedIn is driving activity, Instagram not so. So maybe we might just change resources and move them over to other areas or test other platforms. So the wonderful thing is we can get a really good feedback loop on where we should be spending our time. So what platforms? Start with just asking your clients. I would suggest that every CPA needs to be a member of LinkedIn just to grow their own professional network. And we'll talk about what we can do once we are linked in. But if we're not on LinkedIn, then we're missing a huge opportunity. I think if we're not on Twitter, we're missing a huge opportunity. And I think if any of our clients are on these platforms, then my goodness, we are missing out if we are not on these platforms. So it was interesting. We had one firm in Austin that we went and met with, and we actually went and looked at a couple of their clients. One client had 4,000 followers on Twitter. They also had, same client, had 57,000 likes on Facebook. I'm not suggesting we're going to get 4,000 calls as a result of us following them, but it's really important that we know how our clients are growing their business. And if they're using social media to grow their business, then it's somewhere we need to be. What I'd encourage you to do is look at ways in which we can work smarter. And what you've got in front of you there is our actual Hootsuite dashboard. Hootsuite is one of the platforms, and there's a couple of different platforms that are out there that allow us to manage the bulk of our social media platforms from one single interface. So if I post something to Twitter, I can post it to LinkedIn, I can post it to Google+, I can post it to my groups on LinkedIn, and I can post it to Facebook. So what this means is within one click, I can distribute this message to all those platforms. The last thing I want you to do is think, oh my goodness, I have to log in to all these different platforms. But we can add platforms and we can manage them from here. So we can share clients from here. We can promote. We can like different messages from our clients, from our followers, from our LinkedIn contacts. We can all do it from one platform. And that makes us much more efficient. If you've only got 20 minutes a day, we'd want to come into Twitter, or come into Hootsuite, sorry, and share the message, share the article across all platforms. That way, we're getting in front of our clients with whatever platform they choose to use, because some folks will prefer to get their news via Twitter, some folks will prefer to get their news via LinkedIn, some will prefer Facebook. I'd much prefer to go into one spot, Hootsuite, and distribute that message across all platforms than thinking, oh my goodness, I have to log into each one. So Hootsuite, and there's different platforms out there. This is the one we use, and very effective in helping us be as efficient as possible getting a web presence or getting a social media presence. Hootsuite, for the most part, is free. The commercial or the enterprise edition lets you actually, allows you to populate your week's worth of messages. So Christine in our office, she comes in every Monday and she populates the week's messages. So interesting articles, deadline reminders, upcoming seminars, news in the local area, news in accounting. She can do that on Monday and then has the whole week scheduled. So puts it all into an Excel spreadsheet, uploads the Excel spreadsheet, and then it just drips. And so what our goal for Christine is to identify 80% of the messages that we want to get out there. Seminar reminders, upcoming deadlines, interesting articles that we've read throughout the week. So that's 80% of things done. And then, as we do find other interesting pieces of information, we might take a photo, we might see a great example of a marketing piece, we can then get that out on an as-needed basis and as-we-see-it basis. So the corporate version of Hootsuite comes in at a whopping $9 or $10 a month that allows us to plan out 80% of the week's worth of activity. And then all the individual items, we can do those as we go. So for example, if I'm out tomorrow at our member firm and doing some consulting and I see that they've got a great reception or some great artwork, I can take a photo of that and share that via Hootsuite to support everything that we're doing. Systemize 80%, personalize that remaining 20%. That's definitely something we've heard from Michael Gerber. So we want to work smarter. Once we've decided on the platforms, we've got to decide, or we've got to grow our audience. And a couple of things we've got to do. There's a couple of different ways that we can do that. I would suggest if you're just starting out, let's link with or follow all of our clients' businesses. If we have got a social media presence, let's grow that and put an actual performance metric in our marketing plan of adding 10 new followers, adding 10 new LinkedIn, adding 10 new prospects, whatever it is. Let's get those metrics actually in to our marketing program. So rather than just waiting until we meet with somebody, let's go out searching for them. So if it's our clients, let's go out and find out if they do have a social media presence, and let's link, like, follow, do whatever we need to do. What about our prospective clients? Wouldn't that be great if we go out and we link, like, follow our prospective clients, referral sources, the competition? Why not go out and follow the competition just to see what they're saying? So as we work with various firms, we set up internal goals to say you've got to add 10 new followers a week. We've got to like 10 new firms a week. The reason why? When we like someone, when we follow someone, we enhance our chances of them returning the favor. And particularly if it's a client, if it's a referral source, there's a good chance that they're going to return the favor. Social media is very much about reciprocity. So if you follow your clients, if you promote your clients, if you like your clients, there's a higher chance that they're going to do that as well. And here's what happens. Imagine 10 times a week your clients, your prospects, or your referral sources got an email like this. Hi, Damien, I'd like to connect with you on LinkedIn. All we're doing is we're just reminding them that we're there. Whether or not we choose to open it, I don't actually open these emails, but it's nice that I get them across my inbox. What about this coming into your email? 2020 Group USA, your tweet got favorited. So imagine if one of your prospects or one of your clients got this email that said ABC Accounting, ABC Construction Company, your tweet got favorited by ABC Accounting. What does that do subconsciously to them? That makes your clients think, or that makes your clients realize, oh wow, my CPA, my business advisor is really looking after me. They're sharing, they're liking, they're promoting me. That's fantastic. I've really made the right decision with my current CPA. So not only do we try to connect with 10 individuals or follow or 10 businesses, we also want to make sure that we systematically promote, like, share items that our clients are saying, that our prospects are saying, and that our referral sources are saying. And all we're looking at is getting into Twitter, jumping in and seeing who our followers are, who we should be following. Because if we look at Rick Telberg, he's got 11,000 followers. I would say he's fairly influential in what he's doing, so I'm going to jump in and see who his followers are. I'm going to jump in and follow some of them. So if as we're getting started and we want to ramp up our social media presence, particularly on Twitter, we might go in and find find our clients, find our referral sources, find our prospects, and see who they have within their audience, and then we can go and follow them as well. So it's really, the good thing about this is we can quickly get in and see who they know. We can quickly get in and see who they are influencing, so we can make a decision as to whether or not we want to be hitching our wagon to their social media profile. But have a look at this. Imagine if your prospects on a regular basis, or your clients, or your referral sources were getting an email that looked like this, just in their inbox every couple of weeks. ABC Accounting mentioned you on Twitter. What would your prospects think about that? What would your current clients think about that? And what would your referral sources think about that? So as I said, we've got to systemize that in our marketing activities so that once a week we get in and we like, we promote, we share, just so that we're making sure that we're doing our best to promote our clients, promote our referral sources. And we've heard stories of member firms that are saying, I got a call because we promoted them on Twitter. And it wasn't just that promote, but they'd read a blog article, they might have seen a presentation, they might have passed the office and seen the sign. So it's not necessarily just that liking or mentioning or whatever it is. But what we're doing is we're really getting into our clients and our prospective clients' subconscious, that they can't exactly remember where they saw us necessarily. But I don't open any of these, but it's really nice that Rick Telberg is doing a lot to promote me, to promote our firm, to promote what we're doing. So that's the wonderful thing about social media platforms, is that we get messages out to people very quickly, but we can also demonstrate what we're doing for our clients. So I quite like that. Let's ask a poll question again. Make sure that we are paying attention. We've got, do your clients use social media to grow their business? So we got 64% voted, 71, 83. So let's close that. We're going to share that as well. And I'll make sure I remember to share my screen. But we've got, again, 50-50. I'd say the 3% that have said no, perhaps you're a very 10-40 centric practice. But I wouldn't necessarily mean that doesn't mean we can't investigate what their social media activity is. And if that is the case, then we're going to look at referral sources. Let's promote our referral sources. Let's connect with our referral sources. But I'd hazard a guess, even if you are a 10-40 centric practice, you might not do that business work, but we've got to use social media as a good way just to remind them that we're thinking about them. So I'd suggest the ones that are saying no probably haven't asked the questions, unless their clients don't do business or maybe retired or something. Yes, fantastic. Let's just make sure we're aware of all the platforms, and let's make sure we're doing our best to promote them, to share them, to like them, etc. 53% saying not sure. Let's just take a random sampling of 10 business clients, for example, and if you've got maybe 5 out of those 10 have a social media link on their front page, clear indication that we've got to get into social media and we've got to start sharing, liking, following. Screen is showing, so that's good. So we've got to choose the platforms, then we've got to grow the audience. Reciprocity is key here, guys. So anything that we can do to promote our clients, the better. Now we've got to think about, what do we want to say? And there's 2 strategies here, in my opinion, and of course that's just my opinion, but one is we curate content, and the second one is we create content. And we're going to have a look at both of those very quickly. But let's have a look at curating content. I know you all read interesting articles, and if you're reading those interesting articles online, you are in an amazing position to curate content. And we can see down there when we're just at Inc. Magazine, and you can see all the platforms that we can connect Inc. Magazine to. So if we are using Twitter, if we are using LinkedIn, for example, why wouldn't we just click that button and share it? Who cares if somebody reads it? Who cares if they click on it? And who cares if they don't read it? It's taken you not even 30 seconds to click the button. And that's all we want to do as we start this content curation process. So as we become more comfortable with it, what we're doing in our office is we're asking every team member to share at least one article a day, because people are reading information, and whether that's from the Sacramento Bee or Inc. magazine or the Harvard Business Review, we've got an opportunity to share information that we find interesting. Some firms, they just have the partners do it to get started. Then we open it up to the professional staff. Then we open it up to the administrative staff. Then all of a sudden, we've got 6, 7, 15, 20, 30 people regularly contributing to our social media effort. Now, one of the things that we realized is once we looked at what was going on, because I typically read my news in the morning and then get on with my day, just as I'm having my first cup of coffee or whatever it is, we realized that all of a sudden we had this huge burst of social media activity between 8 and 9 in the morning, and then we were radio silent for the rest of the day. So that's where we got Christine involved and Stephanie in another firm, and that's where they're using Hootsuite. So what we do there is we email, we forward the articles over to Christine. We forward the articles over to Christine, and she loads them into Hootsuite. Because the good thing is if we go back to that article, what you don't understand about personal branding, that's not urgent. That doesn't have to go out this instant. But what we've done is when we send it to Christine, we say, Christine, here's an article. She gets the link. She gets the title, maybe adds a quick comment, and then puts it into the system, puts it into the week's worth of tweets. Doesn't matter when it goes out, because that might go out at 4 o'clock this afternoon. It might go out at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon, but it'll go out. And all we want to do is remember we're just trying to be consistent in our messaging. So rather than there being this big social media activity, we want to be dripping throughout the course of the day. So we saw a big uptick in Google Analytics when we moved our messaging to across the day, because we never know when our business clients, when our individual clients, when our referral sources, we don't know when they log into their social media. We don't know when they check their news sources. So if we're doing it all in the morning, but they don't really check in until after the afternoon, then we probably miss them because the feed has probably gone. I had a great question that came in from, I think it was Jim there, that said, do we just share business articles? No, absolutely not. Share anything that you think shows your personality. I'd probably avoid politics and religion. Actually, I would definitely avoid politics and religion. But feel free to share what's going on. I know there's great rivalry in LA between the Dodgers and the Angels. Share those articles. If you have particular activities in the community, share those activities. Share what Habitat for Humanity is doing. If you're featured in, or if your client's featured in an article, share that article. If you're an avid stamp collector and there's information about stamp collecting, please feel free to share that. Anything that you can show your personality. I like Stephen Colbert, and every now and then something that cracks me up, I share that. So what we might want to do internally is just say business articles to start with, and as we become more comfortable, we start sharing more. And as soon as I said that, start sharing more, let's not share everything. I don't need to know what you're having for lunch today. But if you see something that you read it and you think, oh, that's interesting, or oh, that's my Habitat for Humanity chapter, that's my Susan G. Komen chapter, of course I'm going to share that. Absolutely. Anything that's going on in your community, absolutely share that. But let's just be careful that we don't share too much. But I think we're, as professionals and as CPAs, we're probably aware of what is oversharing. So hopefully that answers that question. And let's ask another poll question. Let's launch that there. Can you share or like one article per day? That's all I want to ask, is if you can just share one article, like one article per day, that means that we're going to grow our web presence. So we've got a couple more, we've got one more poll, I think, and we need those for CPE. But let's go, 81% voted. Maybe they're just trying to frustrate me, but 10% of the audience said no, they can't share an article. I don't know why not. I'm going to guess that's because you don't have any social media. But if you're on LinkedIn, then we can just hit that LinkedIn button, and then that goes onto our feed so that anyone that we're linked in can just see what we found interesting, what we want to share. So I'd probably suggest the 10% that are on today's call. I'm not sure why you're on today's call, but I'm going to hope that it's because you don't have any social media platforms. Maybe you don't read anything interesting. That could be a possibility as well. But good to see 90% of the audience has said yes, they can share at least one article. And what we can do is we can go to our people to say, it is now your responsibility, because everybody's got to be involved in marketing. It is your responsibility to identify one article to share a day. So what I mean there is they may not be able to click that share button and send it to the firm's social media profile, but they need to send it to somebody, maybe upload it to the spreadsheet so that whoever is responsible for social media, they have the final say. And if at any point they come across an article which isn't quite appropriate, they can go and have a one-on-one conversation to say, look, that was a little political, it was a little too religious. We're not out to troll people. We're not out to fan the flames of argument. We want to inform, we want to educate, and we want to promote our clients. So that's the curate content section. When we look at creating content, we've got to focus on inbound marketing. We've got to focus on this pull marketing strategy. The last thing I want you to do when you're creating content is just talk about how great you are, because that will switch people off immediately. And people can unfollow, they can hide, they can basically, like the TiVo, they can fast forward through your messaging if all of your messaging is push marketing, we're the greatest, we're the greatest, we're the greatest. So when you are creating content, make sure it's customer-led. What are the clients interested in? Let's make it informative and educational. Let's ask questions. Let's interact with people. Put a poll on your Facebook page. Let's get people interacting. Let's get people asking questions. There's some really good examples out there of firms that just do question and answer coming into tax time about taxes. Ask your tax questions on Facebook. So there's real great ways in which we can do that, and it just allows people to interact in a much more leveraged manner. I can, for example, a webinar, I can interact with 50 or so attendees rather than having to have this conversation one-on-one with 50 of you. So this is just a great way in which we can really leverage our time and really leverage the content and our skills that we've created. Let's focus on building and enhancing our reputation, and let's get people coming to us, coming to our Twitter page for good quality business building ideas. Let's have them coming to us on LinkedIn for good reminders about tax deadlines. So this is what we want to do when we are creating content. Content is key. Here's some stats that are coming out of where people are spending their money, and 74% of marketing budgets are focused on content marketing. So that's at the expense of paid search. Pay-per-click is 14% down. Online advertising, down. Outdoor advertising, down. So we can see that those old ways, those outbound type push strategies are on their way out. So we've got to focus on building our content and building our knowledge base. And the wonderful thing is you've got a ton of resources out there already, and it doesn't necessarily need to be an expensive process in terms of creating content. So let's have a look at a couple of things. How do we work out what to say? What are the questions that your clients are asking you? I've got to be honest, we miss the boat often thinking that we've got to provide this content that's incredibly technical and that's incredibly not informative, but it's at that technical high-level area. What we want to focus on is what are the questions that your clients are asking you? How do I delete a transaction in QuickBooks? How do I void an invoice in QuickBooks? How do I set up a budget in QuickBooks? A couple of examples of the questions that I know your folks are getting from your clients. So we could go on to a very convoluted article about 1031 exchanges or about the particular tax codes, but you're going to lose your clients. Let's just start with answering the questions that they're continually asking you. And you know you get frustrated, don't you, when you get the same question asked of you 5, 6, 7 different times. Why not create content that answers those questions? top 10 questions or top 10 errors in QuickBooks and how to fix them. We can create that content very easily because you've probably got it somewhere. If you're a QuickBooks Pro advisor, you've probably got a ton of resources available for you that we're able to leverage the content. If any of you use ProfitSense, for example, they've got some great tips in there in terms of how to improve liquidity, how to improve gross profit margin. Let's look at using the content that we already have available to us to get that out into our Twitter stream, into our blog, wherever it is. What we see, and blog's the perfect segue here, because if we look on the right-hand side, how to enter a budget in QuickBooks, how to pay your taxes, they're fairly straightforward blog articles. Maybe finding those last-minute tax benefits in 2013, or 3 ways to make your comeback from the recession, maybe that's a little bit more involved. And what we've done there is our marketing coordinator in this firm, and it's a 3-partner firm, and they've got a full-time marketing coordinator. She goes in and interviews the partners. She goes in and interviews the managers and says, what was an interesting, what happened this week? Mike Milam, one of our members in Southern California, he's realized the importance of this, the content, and what they're doing is, after every meeting with the client, they've got to send a message to their marketing person to say whether or not there was something that should be shared with all clients. The importance of creating a budget. We're having a conversation about the importance of cash flow planning, for example. That's something that we should share with our entire audience. So Hector, schedule some time with me, interview me for 20 minutes, and then Hector goes off and writes it. Another area that we can get into is where we find ghostwriters. And we can go to elance.com and source ghostwriters. I know Christine out in Calabasas or Guru Hills, they pay $50 for a 500-word article, and they found their ghostwriter, just a retired business journalist living in Florida. We've sent him a list of here are the things we want to write on. Here are some articles. Let's get 500 words on the importance of cash flow planning. Let's get 300 words on what is the role of your CPA. And we can get this content created very easily. When we went to a lot of firms and said, you now have to write an article for the blog, a lot of them looked at us and thought, oh my goodness, that sounds like hard work. But we said, no. What are the frequently asked questions? What are the real, when you go out to a client and go in and fix their QuickBooks, what are the errors that you see? Let's create an article around that. So there's really creative and simple ways in which we can get this information created. And whether that is interviewing your partners, interviewing your clients, interviewing people in your office, podcasts, case studies, success stories, if you can share with your audience how you were able to improve the internal controls, how you were able to improve the cash flow of a company, this is the type of stuff that your clients really love. This is the type of information that pulls them to your website. And we can see a 67% increase in leads from firms that are blogging. One of our member firms can identify that the #1 visited page on their website is not their portal, but it's actually their blog. People come to the blog, A, to find information, or people have Googled how to pay your taxes in their area, or how do I enter a budget in QuickBooks, and because their information is focused on what the client's looking for, the client's questions, they just dominate the search rankings. The other firms don't even appear on the listings because they are so prevalent in what their clients are, in answering the questions that their clients are asking. So sit down today and make a note of all the questions that your clients ask you. Is there an opportunity just to jot down 5 or 10 points and then create an article around that? And if you say no, I would challenge you that there's a way that we can get that done efficiently and cost effectively. When we look at creating content, the great thing about once we have the content created, we can leverage it across all platforms. And one of the ways in which we're leveraging content, and a lot of firms are starting to leverage content, is through video. So we wrote an article about foreign taxation strategies to protect and preserve your foreign assets. We then repurpose that content for a YouTube video. Why? YouTube is the #2 search engine behind Google. And what we're doing now is we're allowing the content that we created in an article Word format. We're moving that over to a video format so that if my client or my prospect prefers to learn visually, then we've got the medium for them to do that as well. So could you imagine somebody searching foreign tax, and then our website comes up, the YouTube channel comes up, our blog article comes up, maybe some Twitter articles that we've done comes up. All of a sudden, our search engine optimization is dramatically enhanced. So don't fall into the trap of talking about how great you are. I mean, you can, but what we want to do is we want to demonstrate expertise, show personality, and start off by answering some frequently asked questions. We don't need to have a Spielberg-esque type production, but with maybe a high-definition video camera, some software that I know certainly comes standard with a lot of Apple products, we can get some videos up and running very quickly. A 3-minute video on foreign tax strategies to protect and preserve your foreign assets. The good thing is we can see the number of clicks. We can see the activity that generates. Let me show you Witham Smith & Brown. They have had 63,000 people view this video. Did they get 63,000 calls? Not necessarily, but their goal for their YouTube channel is actually recruitment, to demonstrate that they are not the typical accounting firm. So this video is actually a flash mob in Manhattan. But if we go and have a look at their channel, and this is Witham Smith & Brown YouTube channel, we see some of their other videos. Monitoring controls over catch-up contributions, transfer pricing, international tax compliance, importance of trustee minutes. 2 minutes long, minute 45, a minute 40. You can see that it doesn't look like it's a Spielberg-esque production, but it's really answering the questions that a lot of your clients might be asking, might have on their mind. And granted, importance of trustee minutes has only had 36 views. Who cares? But we now have a presence on a much larger, on another platform. So think about this, and we can get it done very easily. We had one member firm, and we just connected them with the Art Institute, which was around the corner. And we went to the Art Institute, and we said, look, in their video production program, we said, we'd love to get some 3-minute videos for our CPA firm. Is there a way that we can do that cost effectively? The Art Institute jumped at the opportunity, and they basically created projects for their students to come out to the CPA firm to record and produce the videos. Very cost effective. So there's really good ways in which we can get it done, but I think your first foray into it, let's just do, I mean, I know a lot of smartphones, the videos on those are just as good. So let's just start, and let's just test. And as you can see with Witham Smith & Brown, we've got a nice combination of personality, and we've got a nice combination of personality, and we've got a nice combination of answering questions with good quality content that they've created. Social media really allows us to become a famous person very quickly from the comfort of our own office. But we can't just create a profile and sit back and wait for the phone to ring. We still have to interact. We've got to answer questions. So by that, we've got to join forums, and we've got to show our expertise and show why they should be picking up the phone and giving us a call. I can answer the question, why don't you check out the website or our YouTube channel or our blog, because there's a ton of other information there. So for example, if you're looking to develop your construction niche, here's one of the things, the Construction Professionals Forum. 44,000 members, and as you can see, it's really nice because we can see who are the groups or who are the members of that group. So we might find some clients in there, we might find some prospects in there, could find some referral sources in there. But you can see tax partner at Malone Bailey, president of Darla CPA. So these are the group members in my network. So obviously lots of CPAs there, but you can go in and you can see who's a part of it. Down here on the bottom right, but we see the similar groups. So this is the National Construction Professionals Forum. I can now go in and just see the Sacramento area. So we can geo-localize to groups that are in our area. We've got a question there, so let's see what that says. And Ed asks, can social media and a blog replace a newsletter? Yes. As long as we're doing it on a regular basis, But what I would suggest is if we're already creating the content for the newsletter, let's just enhance our marketing efforts. Let's add social media. If we've created the content for the newsletter, let's leverage that across more platforms, because some people will like to receive their information by newsletter, whether that's an electronic newsletter or whether that's a physical newsletter. What we want to do is we want to make sure we're everywhere where our clients are, and if we've got a newsletter or we're thinking about a newsletter and we're creating content, let's just leverage that content. So we can see where we can get in. Now, I just get the daily digest from my groups, and what that means is on a daily basis or a weekly basis, I get an email from my groups where the active discussions are. The last thing I want you to do is go trolling through all of these groups to find out any questions that you can answer. So here, I get this in October. I have a client who is a UK resident but needs assistance with US taxes. Ding, ding, ding. That's immediately catching my attention. We're looking to work with a business partner who specializes in international tax. Is there anybody out there? Again, ding, ding, ding. I'm going to click that link and go directly to the conversation and answer the question. So think about that. And if we've got a marketing coordinator or somebody's taking control of the social media platform, what we've done is we've just directed all of these groups to her. And Stephanie, in this situation, what she's doing is she gets all of the emails from the various groups. So be selective about the groups that you join. We don't need to join thousands of them, just 1 or 2 or 3. She gets the digest, makes a decision as to whether or not we can add any value, and then she forwards that email to the relevant person in the office. Here's a question for you to answer it, or craft a response and get it back to me. So we're trying to be as efficient as possible in our process. So this is the daily digest. Again, working smarter, not harder. Next step in becoming a famous person and helping build our web presence and our profile is making sure that we're leveraging platforms out there that help us build our reputation. So not only are we becoming from a famous person where we're answering questions, but our clients are doing their bit to make sure we're aware that we are a famous person and we are good at what we do. And we are seeing more and more firms getting more and more phone calls from Yelp.com. And if you don't have Yelp.com, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. Great thing about it, free platform. The only thing that you will have to do when you claim your profile is you'll have to basically put up with phone calls from from Yelp.com who are trying to get you to do their pay-per-click. Just ignore them, tell them to bug off, and you'll be fine. But that's the only downside to Yelp.com. Well, no, sorry. The downside to claiming your profile on Yelp.com. But here's a perfect example. Referral source, the banker, whoever it is, they say you've got to check out Fredericks & Crawford CPAs. And what happens when we Google Fredericks & Crawford CPAs? Essentially, we come up first, thankfully. We've also done our Google Places. But second of all, comes up Fredrickson.com or our profile on Yelp. So the client, the prospect, might go to Fredericks & Crawford. We'll talk about how great we are. But then I can guarantee you they'll come back and have a look at what Sean W. has said about us on Yelp. So Sean W. enhances the point that we are who we say we are, and this is our reputation. So this is the good. What I've got to stress is it is a double-edged sword. So this is the good, and the thing that you've got to know is that this is a free profile. This is a free platform out there. Anyone can say anything about you, so we've got to be aware of it. There's different things in place to protect our reputation, but we've got to be aware of Yelp.com. In the larger urban centers, you will see significant results if you spend some time developing your Yelp profile. Smaller areas where we're starting to see it, but get in there and claim your profile, because what we know is Yelp, again, one of the most highly trafficked websites. So this is the good, double-edged sword. The bad, this was an example of a firm that said the partners don't review the returns in detail, and it seems like they're relying more on the customer to fill out the information. Case in point, we recently got a letter, so they only got 3 stars. So we've got to be aware of it, that clients can say this, they have this platform available to them. Let's have a look at the ugly. This is about an accounting firm. Go elsewhere. Never have I experienced such horrible service from someone. So we do have to be very mindful, but if we're good at what we do and we return our calls on time and we answer clients' questions and we price accordingly, then there's no reason why we can't develop a strong Yelp presence. So what are the steps on that? What we want to do is we want to claim our profile. Update the profile and make an offer, free tax planning, free tax organizer, whatever it is. What you might want to do also is ask your Yelp savvy clients to write a review. Your Yelp savvy clients. So this might be the ones that that are using Yelp to grow their business. They might be restaurateurs, they might be mechanics, they might be car detailers. Whatever they are, let's just find folks that are using Yelp and know what Yelp is. We might also write a review on one of our clients' websites after we've had a positive experience. Let this happen organically. One of the last things you want to do is claim your profile and write out to 10 clients and have them all log on to Yelp at the same time and all write a review for you, particularly if none of them have ever written a review for you, because that will send alarm bells into Yelp's algorithm. So what we might do is we might, if we're out at a client and we can see the Yelp logo, we say, oh, you're on Yelp, fantastic. So are we. Would you mind writing a review for us? Let's just let it grow organically, and we will see that we will get more and more phone calls coming from Yelp. And a couple of our members that have made significant steps in this, they're getting 3 and 4 and 5 calls a day during tax season from Yelp. But let's just let it happen organically. Great way in which we can have our community say things about us. How might we get people comfortable with the idea of writing reviews for us? This is a program called Custom Assure, and all it's doing is after every single engagement we're asking for feedback. So that might be a way in which we start getting regular and consistent feedback from our clients. Custom Assure, once we make it public, will then filter out to the various search engines. Won't necessarily go to Yelp, or it will not go to Yelp, but what it does is it gets people comfortable with the idea of giving feedback. And so we're able to send this to clients immediately after any engagement. So customassure.com is a great website to check out. For $50 a month, we can start getting feedback on a regular basis from our clients. Wonderful thing about all of this is Google Analytics will tell us whether or not our time and energy is worth it, because we can see immediately where the sources of traffic are coming from. And if you're not on Google Analytics, let's make sure we get there, because we've got to get our baseline. Where are we currently in terms of traffic? What are people searching for? How are people finding us? When we first started with a lot of firms, typically it comes from just the names on the door. So people are searching for the name on the door. But we've seen with firms that have made a concerted effort to their social media programs, we're now seeing 30 and 40% of traffic coming from social media sites. So that proves to the partners that it's working. As I said, just because something gets retweeted to 17,000 followers in the Central Valley Chamber of Commerce doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get 17,000 phone calls, but our name, our brand, our message gets dripped on 17,000 people. More importantly, someone else in our community has actually shared what we've got to say. So it's not just us responsible for promoting ourselves. Instead, our clients, our prospects, our referral sources, they're sharing what we have to say. And I know a couple of firms, they've been picked up by their Chamber of Commerce several times, just with reminders of estimated tax payments. So that's one of the content creation, is just go and remind people of what all the upcoming deadlines are. And it's phenomenal when that reminder of estimated payments gets retweeted to 17,000 followers, 300 followers, 4,000 followers. It doesn't matter, because we haven't had to do anything to get our name across their readership. What we can then do is we can drill into the Google Analytics to look at visits by a social referral versus as a percentage of all visits. So we can get into those Google Analytics, get in there once a month, get in there every couple of weeks, and just make sure we're on the up and up. Just make sure we're trending upwards. Don't sit there and stress that we haven't got a Yelp review or we haven't got something. Let's just make sure we're improving each and every time. As we are looking at measurements, let's look at different ways in which we can monitor our activity. So let's look at visits to our website. When we do sign in for the business versions of Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, there's some really impressive metrics there that tell us how many people liked us, visited us, spent time on our page. Google Analytics says that about our own website. Then we've got to see, okay, so we've got some visitors. Are we interacting with them? Are they sharing? Are they commenting? Are they liking? Now, the next step, are they actually interacting with us? Are they taking the next step and downloading a report, entering their information? What are they doing? Then, of course, we go into asking the questions of are they requesting an appointment with us? Are we meeting with them? Are we interacting with them? And then, of course, the engagement where they keep coming back on a regular basis. So whether that's purchasing, whether that's interacting, we've had the situation where if we look at where particular clients came from, they came, in all honesty, from the social media profile, the social media program, because they got a message about an upcoming estimated tax payment deadline. They weren't reminded by their own CPA, but they got it via Twitter because that was tweeted by the Chamber of Commerce. They started following him. They started seeing some interesting information. Not only interesting information, but they then started going to their blog. They then saw that on their blog they were offering seminars. They then offered checklists which were able to download and help with internal controls, industry reports. They started interacting with them. They went to the seminar. Not only did they go to the seminar, but they actually then interacted with the speaker at the seminar, and lo and behold, they're now in a meeting with the client or with the partner ready to sign the engagement letter. So we've just got to move people through the sales pipeline. Folks, we are at 10:58, and I have one more poll question. And basically what I'm asking you today is, have you gotten at least one idea to move your social media program forward? And it's 100% yes, so I should just close it no. It's okay if you're still unsure. That's okay. But at a very base, let's create the profile, share an article. Let's create the profile, find our clients, find our referral sources, ask the question as to whether or not your clients are using social media to grow their business. And if they are, then let's get on board. We see the highest uptick in social media acceptances as with the older generations. One of the reasons is their children and their grandchildren are sitting with them and creating their Facebook profiles. As I said, I'm not sure if I necessarily want to connect on an individual basis with my clients on Facebook, but don't immediately assume because my client is old or older or an individual, then they're not using social media to interact with people. So let's not make that assumption. Let's get out, ask the question. If we've got any clients coming in for meetings, let's ask them the question. Let's choose a random sampling and jump on their website to see if they've got social media icons on there. And I'd hazard a guess, your business clients will have social media platforms happening. So we just got to get in there and find out. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't look like we've got any questions there. We did have, we'll close that. You can see my contact information. You can. What I'm trying to do is tweet your questions so that we can create content online, so that we can see the questions, so that people that come to my Twitter profile can see the types of questions and can see the types of answers. Ask the question on Facebook, and then everyone can share it. So, folks, I hope this has been a useful webinar. As I said, we're still working out what's going on from the CPE standpoint, but I've got a record of all your webinars you've attended, so fingers crossed we'll get that sorted out this week or next. We do have a question there. Oh, Barbara, learned something new. Wonderful. That's all we want to make sure. So one or two things. So, folks, have a wonderful day. Let us know what we can do to help, and we look forward to seeing you either online at another webinar or maybe in person at one of our seminars. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.